Yo, what up guys? My name is KingStix. Welcome to my Tristana Jungle Beginner's Guide. In this video, I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know to play Tristana at a proficient level and carry your games. Currently, she is pretty strong in Season 10, in my opinion quite a bit stronger than Twitch, and in most cases better than Kindred as well. The main reason why Trist has gotten so much stronger in Season 10 in my opinion is because she can hit level 3 super fast just starting Machete, taking red, blue, and Gromp, hitting level 3, and then having super spicy ganks. Compared to Tristana and Twitch, her all-in gank potential at level 3 is much higher since she has a lot more damage and her insane Q attack speed steroid is just super overtuned at level 1. The first thing you're going to want to do is get your Hunter's Machete and Refillable Potion and then ward the enemy's buff opposite to their bot lane. Since Warwick's bot lane is on blue side, I want to ward his red buff. This gives me a lot of information whether or not he started on his blue, and it will also give me valuable timing information. If he goes blue directly into his red and tries to invade me, I'll be able to press tab, look at his CS, and figure out where he's been and where he's going. Once you're in base, it's really important that you trade out your warding totem for an Oracle lens. By the time you go for your first gank, it should be off a cooldown and you'll be able to utilize it. It's super valuable for pulling off successful ganks and having lots of information while going in for a gank. I recommend always starting with your bot lane on Tristana Jungle and start with your E. Tristana is weakest at her level 1 in farming, so it's really important to get the best leash possible. Make sure you move in between each auto attack to drag the red buff around. You'll take a lot less damage this way and stay much healthier. If you just stand still, you'll take a lot more damage, which will make the rest of your clearing a lot more dangerous, and it will make it harder to gank since you'll have less HP as well. I recommend skipping your raptors, golems, and wolves on your initial clear. You'll take way too much damage and it will make it take longer to hit your level 3. I recommend just taking red, blue, and Gromp to start out with. That way you'll hit level 3 with double buffs as fast as possible. Make sure to take Q at level 2 and W at level 3. Once again, with blue buff, you want to try to kite it out as best as you can and minimize the number of times that it hits you. That way you can remain close to full HP. You'll lose the most health from fighting Gromp. You should have at least one refillable potion left and your smite charge though, so you really shouldn't lose too much HP. While taking blue and Gromp, make sure to look around for your next gank on the two closest enemy lanes. In this case, my mid laner was getting ganked and I knew he was going to die, and I saw Mordekaiser was shoved up really hard. If you lead him with your W, use your E in midair, it'll save you a lot of time, and then activate your Q as well. Once you land, just move in between each auto attack to stay on top of the enemy, and you'll have plenty of damage to kill them with ease. Typically, if you do come up behind enemies, you don't want to open up with your W, because if they end up flashing or dashing, it can be difficult to kill them since you wasted your gap closer. In this case, Malphite was really low on HP to begin with, so I didn't want to risk him dying while I was walking up to Mordekaiser. So instead, I just closed the distance immediately with my W using my E in midair, activating Q and blowing him up. It was also very simple since Mordekaiser doesn't have a built-in dash. Me burning my W early wasn't too big of a deal. Warwick just killed my mid laner again and his red buff is up, so I knew he'd come over here. I wait for him to waste his abilities on the red buff, and I also have my Oracle lens on just in case it was warded. I used my Q then E, auto attacking him several times, and as he starts to build up distance in between me and him and I can't auto him anymore, I W right on top of him, which is the 4th stack trigger on my E, which refreshed my W once again, so I auto him again and then drop a W right on his head. Of course, he was already super low on health, and the extra W wasn't necessary. I just wanted to demonstrate that if you did get the 4-stack trigger on your E, that it does fully refresh your W on Tristana. So at that point, if he did flash away or anything like that, even after Wing on top of him, I had a full refresh W to use once again. And then of course, once you kill your opponent, it refreshes your W once again as well. So you can use your W multiple times in a team fight if you're managing it properly. I just killed Warwick, so even though I'm low on health, I'm free to take Scuttle Crab, just E and W it, and you should be able to take it fairly quickly even though you don't have any CC to get the bonus damage on it. Here Yasuo is pushed up and Cass is full HP, so I don't have to open up with my W. Instead, I can just walk up to him since I'm not afraid Cass is about to die. Yasuo is in a really tough spot since I still have my W. If he runs away, I can just close the distance. He runs into me, I use my E and Q on him, blasting him really fast, but I have a really bad misstep where I step into his wind wall away from him and miss my auto attacks. If I had landed just 2 more autos, he would have died, and this situation could have been averted. This is a perfect example of how things can go very wrong on a ranged jungler like Tristana, Twitch, or Kindred. If you do just a few bad missteps in a row like I did there, you can cost yourself a very bad play in the early game. Of course, not every misstep is going to punish you this hard. This is just a great example of how hard a simple misstep on a ranged jungler can get you punished. Another thing I want to emphasize is how long Tristana's W animation actually takes. In this situation, after Cass died, I actually could have lived if I would have just flashed the wall. Instead, I was greedy and tried to use my W, which gave them enough time to kill me as I was about to lift off. On your first back on Tristana, you should really be looking to get your red smite. It'll help you out a lot in duels and 2v2s, keeping you alive. I don't recommend going blue smite since you really do need the survivability that red smite allows you. Once you've gotten your saber or a talisman in general, taking AoE camps will be a lot more comfortable. The raptors, the wolves, the golems, you'll lose a lot less health and you'll be taking them faster as well. There was nothing to really gank when I left base, so instead I opted to do a power farm route, taking scuttle and then starting on my golems and moving upwards. When taking golems on Trist or any ranged jungler in general, try to kite out the big one by moving it through the medium one. It'll constantly get blocked and can't get to you. The big one does 4 or 5 times the damage that the medium golem does, so it's way better to be taking hits from the medium one than the big one anyways. And like I said, once you have your saber, you'll be much higher in mana and you'll be able to clear these AoE camps much easier since you'll be getting the AoE splash burn and the AoE splash healing as well. Going through Raptor should be a breeze once you have it. You should be able to clear it with just one E and Q and come out with pretty much full HP. This is why I really like to avoid golems and raptors on my initial clear on Tristana Jungle. Yas is pushing up once again and I've already finished my red side jungle, so I'm going to naturally just path towards it. It is pink warded though, so there's not a whole lot I can do in this situation. I'll just take the ward and move on through. I do end up jumping in because of Yasuo's aggression. Warwick shows up and it's just a neutral situation. I still have most of my HP and truly we did win that trade, so now I'm feeling a little bit aggressive and I want to path a bit into Warwick's jungle. He's not already on his raptor camp and he got kind of low on HP, so I'm thinking he backed. So I pull it away from the bush and away from the wall, use my E and Q, and I clear the camp without really taking that much damage. And even if Warwick did show up, I could have just walked away or smited the big raptor. Since Warwick didn't show up over here, I figured he would have left his golems up as well, but these are gone. I'm not quite sure how that pathing worked out. Mordekaiser is pushed up really far, but my Malphite's very low on HP, so he doesn't want to fight it. It's a little bit sad since all Mordekaiser has is a Doran shield, but I understand the situation. If I was level 6, I would have been pretty bummed out because it would have just been such an easy fight. I am already at my blue side jungle and my camps are all up, so I might as well stay and clear them out. I'm not really looking for a gank right now since I'm sitting on a fair amount of gold. Unless it's super free, I'm not really going to go for it. Hitting your full jungle item on Tristana is a massive power spike, and I wouldn't recommend getting your Berserker Greaves until you've done so because you'll be putting off your power spike for that much longer. I do typically end up getting my Boots of Speed before I finish my jungle item though, because it takes so long to get, and if you don't have Boots of Speed, you'll miss out on a lot of opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, as I was finishing up my full clear out before I was about to back, I saw that Bran was killed and Kai'Sa was low on HP, so I hop the wall, flash, and we pick up the kill. Bran has now respawned and he's on his way back to lane, so I want to wait to kill him. I don't use my red smite on the Gromp, instead I want to save it for the extra damage to kill Bran, and also just in case he full combos me, I don't want to risk dying. Stand in this part of the bush to get the most vision. I jump out on the Bran, EQ, I hit him with my W slow as well, red smite him, and then auto ultimate to finish him off. If you're using your ultimate as damage to kill somebody on Tristana, it does have more range than your auto attacks, so I recommend saving it last. So once they are out of range of your auto attacks and you don't have your W, that's when you would want to use your ultimate. Just pinch off your final auto and then press R. If I had my completed jungle item here, I would easily be able to wipe the Kai'Sa, but since I don't have red smite or my jungle item, I really can't win this fight and I have to back off. Now we can pick up our completed jungle item. I recommend going for warrior over blood razor. The reason is Tristana's E scales crazy good with attack damage. Not only that, but Tristana's Q will be giving you so much attack speed once it is maxed out that you'll be overfilling your attack speed unless you go for lethal tempo. So getting blood razor and other attack speed items isn't very beneficial for the mid and late game. After you have your warrior finished, get your berserker graves, and at that point you should be looking to get a lifeline item. If the enemy team is full AP, get Maw, otherwise get Phantom Dancer. In this game, obviously I'm going for Phantom Dancer. They have a good mix of AD and AP. In this gank, Malphite is full HP, so I'm not too worried about Mordekaiser killing him, so I hold on to my W. Sure enough, he ults Malphite, and then after they come out of his ultimate, we tear him up. I activate my Q and E on top of the Mordekaiser. He has nowhere to go, and it's an easy pickup. A lot of you are probably saying, well, you might as well have used your W to force out the Mord ult quicker. The reason why I disagree is because Mordekaiser could have ulted me, and he might have been able to kill me since my ultimate was down. So in this case, once he saw he was pinched, he just ulted the closest person, which was Malphite. The second reason is if Warwick showed up and my W was down, and plus my ultimate was down, I could have put myself in a really bad situation. After you get a kill on an enemy laner, optimally, you should stay, push the wave, and then use your E and Q on the turret, and you'll get so much gold out of the plate. Tristana is by far the best champion for shredding turrets. So really make sure you're taking advantage of this and not just getting ganks and then wandering off into the jungle. Something to keep in mind is if it's before the 5-minute mark against the top or mid lane turret, it's not really worth staying because it has pretty much 4 times the armor. But if it is against the bot lane turret or after the 5-minute mark, then yes, you should be staying after the gank to break the turret. Here, Mordekaiser found himself out of position. I waited to use my W until Senna used her snare. I didn't want to jump on top of him, and just in case she missed her snare, and if Warwick looped back around, I could be in a weird spot. But since she landed the snare and Caitlyn was behind her, Caitlyn and Senna would have easily been able to finish off Warwick. When you are breaking turrets and the enemies are under them, do keep in mind that your E splash damage on the turret will hit nearby enemy champions, thus the turret will aggro you. So you will have to back off when that happens. If you get caught out in a bad situation with your teammates, as long as your W is up, try to stay in the fight for as long as possible and help get them off your teammates and deter them from chasing. Here I still have my W. We picked up the kill on Yas, and I'm trying to stay in it for as long as possible to help my Caitlyn. Once I can't stay in it any longer, I use my W and get out of that bad situation. Dragon is up and Cass is here, so I want to get red buff to heal up and then fight the enemies on the dragon since they're low on HP. I hop the wall, smite. You can use your smite in midair, so smite stealing on Triss is actually kind of easy. I want to get my 4-stack reset on my E for my W here. Right when I get it, I jump knowing Cass can finish Warwick. Then once Cass finishes off Warwick, that fully resets my W once again, since it does reset off of champion kills and assists. So here I got to use 2 Ws for the chase down onto the Brand and Kai'Sa. That's something Kindred and Twitch can't do, and is one of the big reasons why I think Tristana Jungle has a lot of untapped potential for chase downs and teamfight play in general if you are managing your E and W properly. Me and Brand both end up using our flash. He gets away. I have their Kai'Sa pin. Yasuo shows up, so I auto attack, and then I keep pulling away from his wind wall, auto attack, ult him away. At that point, he knew I could kill him, so he pulled back, but my teammates were there to pinch him. Here, I don't know, I guess I had a mini stroke. I tried to solo dive the Kai'Sa, and she does use her flash to kill me. If she didn't have flash, I would have been fine, but at the end of the day, it was really greedy, and if I would have looked on the map, I would have seen my minion wave was going to be there in 3 or 4 seconds, and I could have just waited for that for me and Senna to kill her together. I now have my full lifeline item, which will make it much more difficult to kill me in team fights, which is why I highly recommend getting life item in general on Tristana Jungle. Super valuable OP item. Here I was waiting for Brand to use his Q stun on Senna first before I jumped in on him. He held onto it for long enough for me not to use my W because the rest of his teammates became revealed and I didn't want to jump in 1v3 there. I'm going to heal up by auto-attacking the Gromp. Your jungle item gives you a lot of life still, plus in our runes we do have Bloodline, so we can heal off things quite nicely. The enemies are greedy and are forcing a Herald. I'm going to put down some max range auto attacks, try to push them off of it, and if they overstep here, I will make them suffer. Warwick Yasuo push too deep into the Herald pit. I get off 2 free autos and an E onto the Kai'Sa, so I jump on her, red smiter, and I blow her up. I now have my full W reset. I ult away the Warwick to keep him off of me. W away from Warwick once again, auto the Brand. I then auto the Warwick to stop his movement speed bonus since I was low on health, but he does have his flash, so just flash Qs to finish me off. If he didn't have flash, I would have easily gotten away. Since I did solo Kai'Sa, damage Brand and Warwick and pull them out of the fight, we do pick up Herald and kill Yasuo, which is great. So that was a 1-for-2 trade plus Herald, making my sacrifice super valuable. 2 of my teammates are dead. I'm 1v3, but I want to make some flashy plays. I need to bait out the Brand Q. I EQ, bait out his Q, and I kill him. Warwick ults me. I W away. I take too much damage though, and Yasuo has Ignite, so they do pick up the kill on me. This is a really good example of in the mid and late game on Tristana, you really don't want to be the person frontlining for your team. If the enemies still have their heavy CC abilities up like the Warwick ult and the brand stunt, it makes it really difficult to get out of this situation alive. If those abilities are down, then you can kind of frontline, but if they aren't, then it's just too risky. I want to show you guys another mid-late game fight. We secure dragon and enemies are pressing in hard, so I stay near the wall because your walls are safety on Tristana. If the enemies pin you really hard, you can just hop over the wall and you're good to go. Very similar to a Kindred. Mordekaiser did burn ult on me, which forced me out of that fight for quite a while, but since I didn't die, I actually got a lot of value for my team. I have red buff and they're chasing me, so I know if I kite it out well, I can do it. Once I have enough distance built up between me and them, I turn around and stay on top of them with my autos using my E and Q every time they are up. Warwick's getting lower on health. I don't want to W in yet because I'll die. I sidestep the Mord CC, I keep kiting backwards, kill the Mordekaiser. Now that Mord's dead and Warwick's low on health, I W in, EQ, red smite him, and pick up a double kill. But 2 just isn't enough. Yasuo wants his chance here. He foolishly steps into my auto attack range even though I have red buff. He comes in on me, I kite him back with my red buff. After I have him low enough on health, I chase him down, flash his tornado, EQ, and finish him off. I go onto the brand here, but the minion I was going to use to shield his Q ended up dying from the side left edge of his W, so he does end up stunning me, so I can't get the kill on him. It really doesn't matter too much though since I didn't die off of it. The moral of this story is red buff Tristana in team fights is an absolute menace. As long as you're kiting the enemies out properly and you're not the first one to go in and soak all the CC, you should be able to kite them out and demolish the enemy team. Warwick and Mordekaiser just spawned in, so I still have a window where it's only these 2 defending the turret. Kai'Sa's really low on health, so I jump in, EQ, and I don't pinch off the last auto attack. It was a little bit of a misstep. We do end up killing Brand though, which is great. This is why I really like taking Bloodline on Tristana Jungle, particularly in the mid and late game. Your lifesteal is so strong. Whenever you go to heal up off of hitting minions or monsters, you'll get back pretty much your full HP. Here I was almost dead, but just off of Wolf Camp, I am now full HP. Really strong. Yes, I know I have a Vampiric Scepter, and yes, I know jungle item gives you lifesteal on monsters as well, but still, the lifesteal was crazy. The last time the enemy saw me, I was nearly dead, so they're not really expecting me to be hanging around. This is the perfect opportunity to catch Yasuo out of position, EQ, hold on to my W. Now that he threw out his wind wall, I could have W to kill still. I was a little bit slow on the kill still though, and I was kind of iffy, and I kind of wanted to give it to Cass until I felt like he might not finish him off. Kai'Sa and Warwick are a little bit overextended. If my W was up here, I would have hopped over the wall in a heartbeat and taken them out, but since my W wasn't up, I wasn't just gonna run at them. That would have given away my position, and we wouldn't have gotten anything out of it either. The enemies are near their turret, and it's all 3 of them right now, so I want to wait for a pick. Warwick peels off to the upper left. Kai'Sa doesn't, so she's out of position. I W on top, EQ, finish her off. W to close the distance on the brand, and then W again after the brand to close the distance on the Warwick. He does get away, but it's really good practice to use your W immediately upon getting kills or assists, or getting off a 4-proc explosion on your E. And that is going to wrap up this Tristana Jungle guide. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. Plus, I read every single one and respond to the large majority of them. My name is KingStix, and thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.